Larry, you train planners. I mean, you train the trainers, so to speak.
Yeah, I do. I work with all types of sales organizations, candidly, but what we've done with Magellan Financials, we've partnered to create a program specifically made for helping financial advisors perform better in the conference room.
And how's that working out?
Well, we're excited. We're launching this thing just in a matter of weeks. Our first group is sold out. We have another group that's going to be starting not long after that, but been working with my colleague in this business, Brian Caranta, for the last 2.5 years, and we've really figured out we figured out a sales process that really works effectively for financial advisors. And frankly, it's the process itself that differentiates most of these advisors, because the products that they sell are relatively commoditized. I mean, they're ubiquitous. So what is it that's going to differentiate one financial advisor from another?
Right.
It's how they go about selling their services, and then the end result, the retirement plan. I mean, that's got to be solid and sound.
Absolutely.
But frankly, it's the process leading up to that which really differentiates them and makes them choose that advisor over somebody else.
What's one of the things that you try to impart to people?
I think the biggest thing that we see most financial advisors do is they tend to present information prematurely. They don't take the time to really diagnose the fears, the concerns, the opportunities too. It's not just all about pain, there's opportunity as well. They don't take the time to really diagnose what their clients are looking for. And as a consequence, the clients feel like they're being sold. They feel like the product is being pushed upon them, or you need to do this. And man, a lot of these people meet with financial advisors and they come in with their guard up. I mean, there's a lot of, there's all kinds of propaganda out there in the industry. They don't know what to believe anymore, and they're fearful.
Of course. And this process that you've developed, obviously it's showing some success. You're rolling it out. You're getting people interested.
Yeah, and what's special about the process is it's not just a bunch of ivory tower theory and concepts. And we teach people exactly how you open a meeting, what the killer questions are when you're doing that diagnosis step, what you have to ask to uncover whether they have an existing financial advisor or not, how they uncover what this individual's decision process is. And candidly, the presentation, which is what most salespeople focus on, is the least important part of the process.
Interesting.
It's everything leading up to that. That's what makes the difference.
So, Larry, how did you get to be in the spot that you're in? I ask the planners all the time, and they've always got stories. How do you get to be at that spot where you are?
Well, it's interesting. As a young man, I wanted to do good. I wanted to make a positive impact. And believe it or not, I became a lawyer. And I was a litigator. And I got my kicks by being in a courtroom. And I thought I was going to make the world a better place for small business people. And I quickly discovered that as much as I love being in a courtroom, it's the last place you want to take your clients, because you're really rolling the dice. You really don't know what kind of a judge or a jury you're going to get. And I really didn't feel like I was making a positive impact. And so I went into sales initially, selling to lawyers, and I cut my teeth there, and I was extremely successful. And a number of years later, I had left the big firm. I'd gone to a high-tech startup firm that imploded 3 months to the day after I started there, and I was frustrated, frankly, and I thought, what can I do? What talents, what skills do I have that I could do on my own and have my own business? And I had a great track record as a salesperson, and I had these platform skills. I was good on my feet, and I had proven that first as a trial lawyer and then later on as a salesperson. And I thought, what if I got into sales training? And what I found is that I loved it. And I loved it because I was good at it. And I think we all feel good about doing something that we're good at. But more importantly, I started to see the results and the feedback I got from my clients. And as I tell my clients, I get paid in two ways. I get paid by virtue of the money they pay me for my coaching and training.
Of course.
But I also get paid by the psychic gratification from seeing these individuals take their business to the next level. Now, my colleague, Brian Quaranta, reached out to me in February of 2016, and he was very frustrated. I mean, he was a financial advisor that had been in the business for, I think, 15 years, but he felt like he was stuck. He felt like he wasn't growing as rapidly as he wanted to, and he wanted help, and he wanted somebody from outside of the industry, believe it or not.
Well, I think that's smart, don't you?
I think it was. And I quickly looked at his business, and I said, man, there's some things I would do differently. And we started working on it, and to be candid, I fell in love with his business. At the same time, he's falling in love with this sales process that I'm teaching him how to implement. I fell in love with his business because I had never been exposed to a financial advisor that sold annuities, that did retirement planning that was more predictable. You know, I had always dealt with financial advisors who had my money in the market. And I lost a lot of money in 2001. And then I lost a lot of money again in 2008 and 9. And I was getting to that point where I thought, I can't go through this again. And this guy seems to have something different. Well, I fell in love with his financial planning, moved all of my money out of the market, purchased several annuities, found not only did it give me the peace of mind of knowing that I was going to have a secure retirement, it also made my life better today. Because all of a sudden I said, you know what? I'm okay in retirement. I can start spending some of that money now. Let's go on some fancy vacations that I've always wanted to take. Let's start clicking off the items on the bucket list. And so Brian and I, he fell in love with what I did. I fell in love with what he did. And we thought, we need to take this out to the financial
Take the show on the road.
Take the show on the road. And we brought it to Magellan Financial. And it's been a great partnership. And very, very excited.
That's great.
Great organization. You know, Brian's organization is part of Magellan Financial, and they bring a lot of resources to the agents that are under their FMO umbrella. And the one thing they were lacking was a training program designed for their business. You know, it's one thing to bring people into the conference room by virtue of all the marketing programs, and they've got some great ones with Retirement U and the SEO that they do, and the work that they do with your organization in terms of radio. I mean, those resources they bring to their agents are top-notch. The thing they didn't have was a sales training program. And so our goal is to help those financial advisors take those opportunities that come into their conference room and improve their closing ratio.
Sure.
Make sure that
but it seems to me that it's in an upfront, honest, for real kind of presentation.
Completely.
Yeah. I mean, when I was talking with Brian, that's one of the things that became clear to me. It's very genuine, very honest, happy to tell stories, you know.
Yeah, you know, it's funny because if you look at sales training, the sales training that I first was involved in when I was a young sales professional back in the 80s, it was very heavy on how to present and how to close. Well, I'm going to tell you right now.
ABC.
Always be closing. You got it. And that's the worst thing you can do. In fact, Neil Rackham, who is probably as close to a selling scientist as there is, actually disproved in his book in the 80s that the more times you attempt to close, the less likely you are to get the business. You really need to pick your spot as to when you close, and there's a lot of work you need to do leading up to that. And candidly, the best close is simply where you set the expectation in advance that once you make a presentation, you're going to ask them what the next step should be, and the next step is either we do business together or we don't. But it's not pushy. It's intentional. At each and every step in the process, you and your prospective client are on the same page, but it's very open, very ethical, and you could lay out the process for your prospective client and say, this is what I'd like to do with you, what do you think? And they'd say, sounds like a great way of going about making a purchasing decision. And at the end of it, they're totally free to say no. I mean, we tell them that right up front. But candidly, if they're not a good fit, we're going to know that long before we've invested a lot of time and effort and putting together that retirement plan. It works. It's win-win for both the customer or the client as well as for the advisor.
Larry, that's great. Anything you want to throw in that we haven't touched on?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Thanks for the interview, and
Well,
it's been great meeting you.
Nice
and-
to see you.
Yeah,
All right.
appreciate it.